Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Teddy, and today we are going to be looking at the Jonsbo T9 ITX case. So this is a mini-itx case, and as you can see, it's very reminiscent of a prior design by Fractal, which was the Fractal Terra that I had sitting next to it. So you can't really look at the Fractal Terra and not be reminded of how much this case looks like it. Some would call it a copycat, but nonetheless is a very beautiful case. It's well constructed. The fit and finish is premium. So this case is aluminum alloy and has a black walnut solid base. So as we can see, I'm going to go ahead and open it up so you guys can see a little bit of how it's constructed. This case has a built-in dust filter system on all of the accordion style grill. These panels are very solid. I wouldn't really be concerned if you had to travel with this or put it into a bag. I would 100% trust it with my components. Inside the case, you'll find the box of accessories. So inside this is your extra screws for hard drive disks or SSDs, and a couple cable ties, and that's about it. Get your instruction manual, which explains a little bit more in depth if you need help putting this case together and building in it. It's good to reference. Each panel simply slides up and out, and you can see how this dust filter system, I think it's super glued onto the side, which I probably wouldn't do. I probably would have put them on with some type of magnetic strip or something like that. But you can also just remove those if you'd like unimpeded airflow. Now as I flip this over to take a look at the solid walnut wood base, you'll notice there are some cutouts for airflow at the bottom. Your power supply extension cable is mounted to the back and routed through the middle of the case so you can't see it, and your USB-C and power button are both tastefully integrated into the wood as well. So good work on that craftsmanship on the base. Starting off with the parts I'm going to be using for the build is this Snowman MC75-8 low profile CPU cooler. Now this is available on Amazon, and I think I spent 30 bucks on it. I got the full black edition, so they do have a white with RGB and they have a black with RGB, and this will fit Intel as well as AMD. Comes with your little instructions and accessories, the actual CPU cooler and fan combination, and this is to be 75 millimeters tall, and that will fit with what I'm going to be doing with this case. Much like the Fractal Terra, the Jonsbo T9 case has a middle spine that can be adjusted to fit a variety of different components based on the sizes that you have. You can get a different smaller low profile cooler, but for my build, since I'm using my 9950X3D in this, I needed to find the biggest cooler that I could find that could fit, and that was this one. So it is advertised to be 75 millimeters, which is pretty much what I measured there. And this is actually the largest CPU cooler you can put into this case, with the center spine being set to the 2-slot GPU mode, since I'm putting in my 5090 FE. If your card is 2.5 or 3 slots thick, you're going to be very limited on what size CPU cooler you're going to be using, so just put that into mind when you're planning your build. So you're going to have to match probably a less power hungry CPU if you're going to be using a larger GPU. one thing to watch out for is if you order this case after January 2026, the Amazon listing states that it will ship with a PCIe 5.0 riser cable. I ordered in January 2026 and I still received PCIe 4.0 riser cable. So just be attentive to that, because if you install this onto the same motherboard that you were using previously with your 5.0 card and you had it set to 5.0, you may get a black screen without going into your BIOS and setting your PCIe 16X speed to 4.0. And this teeny tiny little thing is the power supply that I'm going to be using. This is the Lee SP1000P SFX PSU, and it is a 1000 watt platinum rated PSU, and it's pretty impressive that they put so much power into such a small little PSU. So after you've installed your PSU, got all your cables plugged into your motherboard, and plugged in the PSU extension cable, you can install your fan into the fan slot that is above your PSU. I would recommend not doing this at this point because I found out later that I wasn't able to plug in my GPU with this fan installed just because of how the 12 volt power cable inserted into my GPU. It would impede that. So I had to remove this to install my GPU. So that's just a quick note on that. Once you got your fan cables plugged in and out of the way, you can apply your thermal compound. I am an X method guy because I've found during hundreds of thermal paste applications that seems to be the most consistent at spreading evenly across the integrated heat spreader of the CPU. Now when I'm installing this, just put down firm pressure, evenly applied, and then I tighten one side slightly and then the other side slightly, and then I just alternate until it is fully tightened down. And you can see that the heatsink goes over the little I/O shield on your motherboard, and that way it has more clearance for your RAM, so you can actually use whatever kind of RAM you want in this case. In this top-down view, after it's all built, you can see the tolerances. There is not a lot of space in between the back of the GPU and that center spine. And as you can see, there's like a millimeter or two, which is honestly not enough space for an RTX 50 FE. So if you were going to be building in this case, I would highly suggest not using a 5090 FE. Even undervolted, my GPU temps were reaching 90, 95. It's just not the best fit. And as you can see, that exhaust fan there's like no gap there to plug it in, which is why I explained earlier to install that fan last. And even doing that, there's a slight possibility that the GPU power cable could hit that fan blade. And I didn't want to use a low profile fan because I wanted as much static pressure to remove some of the hot air as possible. And then as you can see with that 75mm cooler, it is completely flush with where you would mount your side panel. So there's no more space in there at all whatsoever. And that wasn't really bad for noise. Noise level was actually tolerable. Can't really hear it. And as you can see, the front panel slides on with no issues. It's really tidy. I really enjoyed the look of this case. I think I fully recommend this case for somebody who is going to be using something like, I don't know, 5070 FE, a smaller like AMD Radeon card, or like an older style blower cooler that kind of shoots air out the back of the card where like your motherboard's IO is. I don't recommend shooting air straight through into the center spine. But that'll pretty much wrap it up for this case. I think I'm going to be doing another build in this case with some lower end parts to get thermals where they need to be. But if you enjoyed the build and you enjoyed me explaining the process, go ahead and drop a comment, like, and subscribe, please. Those really help out. And that's actually going to do it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Teedster out.